Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Darnell, and today I will be presenting to you Gutter to Glory. A little about myself. I've been bowling for just over 2 years now, and my average is about a 185. It's a good hobby, it's good exercise, and it's something I do to get out the house and meet new people. The bowling alley is one of the friendliest places you could ever go. Everyone is there, will give you advice, give you tips on how to get better. First, the outline for today is first we'll cover the commonly used terms in bowling. Next we'll move on to equipment. We'll move on to etiquette / safety. Also giving tips on how to keep score and tips on technique. Then we'll follow up with a couple of questions. Common terms. You know, some of you guys might know them, some of you guys might not. One of the terms, approach. That is the walkway right before the foul line. That is where you stand with your bowling ball. The lane. The lane is where you throw your ball and where you want to keep your ball on. The gutter is the pitch of the lane that if your ball falls off, you don't get no score for. And we all know a strike is when you throw your ball on the first try and knock down all the pins. Some more terms. A spare. A spare is when you do not pick up all the pins on the first try, and you have to throw the ball on your second try and you pick up the rest of the pins. A turkey. Bowl 3 strikes in a row. Get that going, you have a pretty good game ahead of yourself. And the other two different type of bowlers, you have a straight ball bowler. That's a bowler that stands and throw the ball straight down the lane at the pins. And you also have the hook bowlers, which you see more of your professionals doing. That's when the ball looks like it goes across the whole lane and it seems like they always strike. Equipment. Bowling shoes is the single most important item you could have. Right here are a pair of my bowling shoes, and they are very important. Normally you go to the bowling center and you have to pay $1.25, $3, whatever it is, to use the bowling shoes for that one day. Then you give them back their bowling shoes. If you go bowling 3 or 4 times, guess what? You just gave them guys $10 that you'll never see again. That's why you need to invest in your own bowling shoes. One of the best things about investing in your own bowling shoes is you can change out the inserts, like I have, or you can also adjust the bottom slide guide. And here's a chart that shows you if you want to slide less, what to have on the bottom of your shoes. If you want to slide more, how to equate that and slide more. The second and most important part of bowling is the bowling ball itself. You know, you cannot just pick up any bowling ball and make it do what you want it to do. A lot of bowling balls are designed to do a certain thing. You have spare balls that's designed to go straight. You have big hooking balls that's designed to hook across the whole lane. And each bowling ball varies with core, layout, cover stock. So even though you and your best friend might have the same bowling ball, on the outside it might not be the same bowling ball with the layout. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you go to the bowling alley. Once again, going to cover stock. The cover stock of the bowling ball is pretty important. Back when bowling first started, they used to use a rubber cover stock. You know, that's when you see your grandpas, your grandmas bowling. And it was pretty hard to get great scores. So when them guys got great scores, it was pretty amazing. Then the sport started to evolve. You went to the plastic balls, which are harder balls to strike with. They are more used for going straight, picking up spares. Then you go to your urethane, your reactive resin balls. Those are the best balls on the market. Those are the balls that will hook. Those are the balls that will help you in the lanes to get higher scores. And here's a short video on the core of bowling balls.
Technological advances have reshaped the bowling ball at its very core. No longer round, The nucleus is asymmetrical, which causes the ball to curve towards the pins as it rolls down the lane. They make the cores from polyester resin, blending in minerals like barytes, silica powder, and limestone. The result looks like chocolate milk, or make that hot chocolate, because a catalyst triggers a chemical reaction that heats it up. As they pipe it into the molds, it quickly starts to cure and solidify. In just 2 minutes, it's ready to extract. This core is oblong, flat on one side with a knob. There are different versions of this core design, each one carefully calculated to manipulate the bowling ball's performance at a specific skill level. They now drill toward the center of the core to make a pinhole. This allows the core to be suspended in just the right position in a second mold. This asymmetrical core is about to be encased in a more uniform sphere. They tamp the core into the bottom part of the mold, and then lock down the top half. After all, they don't want any leaks as they pump it full of plastic. It's a liquid polymer blend. A special chemical in it causes the mix to solidify slowly. It can take days for it to harden around the core, depending on the formulation and type of bowling ball being made. When they knock it out of the mold, all is revealed. That asymmetrical core is now sealed in a very symmetrical polymer shell.
Now here are the layouts I was speaking to you about. As you can see in the picture where the pin is located differently on each of the balls. On my ball, since this is my plastic ball that I use for spares, my pin is actually on the reverse side of the ball. This helps the ball to go down the lane longer and help me pick up some tougher spares. For best information about different layouts, it's best to go and talk to the Pro Shop guy. Those guys are more than willing to help with your day-to-day needs on which layout will help you better. Most of the guys are not in it to make money, and they don't have no problem giving you advice and going to talk and just talking to them, and they actually work on tips if you want to give those guys a tip. Bowling etiquette. I know a lot of people just like to go to the bowling lanes, and if you look at this picture, you actually see one of the most things that's common at the bowling alley that's a big no-no. In the picture, you see two people on their approach at the same time. This is very dangerous. You have a lot of bowlers who might sweep out their legs or take a step to the side. With bowlers to your left or your right doing that, this might cause an injury to yourself or to them. So it's best to wait till the bowler to your left and to your right is done before you bowl. You only have to worry about the lanes to your left and your right and make sure they're not in the lanes where you're bowling. Another tip for dressing. Bowling is a sport. So you will dress any which way you will dress when you go to play the sport. Jeans, t-shirt is okay. Do not wear a dress. You do not want to fall and have everything fly open on the bowling lanes. And also, it is important that you wear socks. If you are going to use the bowling house shoes, make sure you take socks. You do not want your feet or somebody else's feet has been for the last 10, 15 years. Keeping score. When you bowling and you get a strike, in that bowling box, you just mark an X. To get the score for that frame, you have to then wait for the next two balls to keep score. Seeing as an example, the first ball was a strike, the second ball was a 3, the third ball after that was a 6. So you add the 10 for the strike, and then the next two balls, which will make that 19. And that's how the bowler got 19 in that frame. Keeping a spare is almost as simple. When you get a spare, you mark a dash in the bowling score card, and the very next ball is what you would add to +10. So as you see, the bowler got a spare in the first frame, and the very next ball was a 4, so they added the 4 to the 10, which gave the 14. Open frame, very simple. You just write down what the bowler scored on those 2 balls and move it down to the bottom. And that's how you get the score for an open frame. Got it? Technique. Gripping the bowling ball, knowing the bowling lane, approach, release. These are very important things to your technique with your bowling ball. Bowling grip. There's many different bowling grips. One of the things you want to make sure when you're bowling is that the ball properly fits you, and that also can be done by a pro shop guy. But once again, when you're using a bowling ball, the thing you want to do is make sure your 2 fingers go into the bowling ball first. A lot of bowlers nowadays do not use their thumb, but if you do want to use your thumb, then your thumb will go in next, creating a grip. Coming from these different grips, you have your fingertip grip, where only the tip of your fingers go into the ball. You have your conventional grip, when your hand goes into the ball down to the first knuckle. And you also have your vacuum grip and your southeaster grip. Myself, I use the vacuum grip on the ball because it's a lot less pressure on my fingers. So it allows me to bowl a lot longer. Knowing the bowling oil. Normally when you go to the bowling alley and you go to bowl for fun, they will have some sort of the Christmas tree design on the bowling lane. As you start to bowl more and bowl in competitions, you will start seeing different bowling oils, and you would need to know how to adjust from those oils so you can keep your scores up. So you also have the flat oil. With this oil, there's no safety zone to help your ball come back, and everything is flat going up the lane. You also have the block, whereas everything on the outside is out of bounds. You also have the reverse block, where all the oil is on the outside of the lane, which if your ball gets out there, it's not coming back. And then once again, the Christmas tree, which is the normal bowling house layout. Approach. One thing about bowling is there's no correct form. However you choose to bowl, that's how you choose to bowl. If you want to go up there and granny roll your ball every time, you can. Be my guest. The hardest thing about bowling is you must repeat your form every single time. Yes, you can get a strike once, you can get a strike twice, you can get a turkey. But you have to keep that up for the whole game. And that is the most difficult thing about bowling, is keeping your mind in the game to remember to do the same thing 12 times, step by step, over and over. So, when we start speaking about a release, we go to the pros and cons of hook or straight. Myself, I'm a hook bowler. With hooking the ball, you get more consistent scores. You know where your ball's going to go. Even when you make mistakes, a hook ball will help. Hooking the ball will help the ball get back to the pocket if you make a mistake, which you have a bigger error window. Hooking the ball, you need less power. You don't need to go up there and throw the ball 30 miles per hour and get a strike with a hook ball. And also, hooking the ball, there's more ways to attack the lane. Oh, that's it. When you throw a straight ball, one of the things you need with throwing a straight ball is more power. More power means more stress on your body, which you see a lot less bowlers using straight balls unless they're picking up spares, like just a single 10 pin or things of that nature. When you throw a straight ball, you must be perfect every time. You have no room for mistake. You cannot miss your mark at all. Picking up spares. This is a quote I made, and this is a quote I go by. Good bowlers can make strikes, great bowlers pick up spares. Quoted by me. Anybody could go and throw strikes all night long. It's when you start missing your strikes, whether you can pick up your spares, dictates whether you're a great bowler or not. I've seen a lot of bowlers that could go 7, 8 strikes in a row and still lose because they can't pick up a single 10 pin, they can't pick up a 7 pin, or things of that nature, because they don't have the concentration or they lack the practice to go out and work on these spare balls. Questions? Does anybody have any questions? Yes, that is a very good question. Myself, I probably practice about 3 times a week. It's practice, but it's also a good hobby for me, so it relieves a lot of stress. Yes, ma'am, up front.
You mentioned the pocket. What is the pocket?
The pocket, it varies for bowler. Normally the pocket is between the 1 pin and the 3 pin for right-hand bowlers, and between the 1 pin and 2 pin if you're a left-hand bowler. It's very, very hard to dictate exactly where your ball needs to be in the pocket. A lot of bowlers hold the pocket differently. But generally, the pocket is between the 1 and the 3 pin. Thank you guys for coming. It was a pleasure.